To get this party started in honor of our dear friend and our buddy. Some people are golfing buddies, some people are construction buddies, some people all the way back. We're honored that you're here. I want to first introduce myself. My name is Heidi Newfield. And, I'm going to need that. I'm going to need that throughout this. I just first want to say thank you to everyone, and of course Robin joins me in thanking each and every one of you for coming here today in honor of Larry and the amazing, incredible life he lived. I first met Larry and Robin back in the early winter of 2013. I was sitting there last night thinking about the beginning of our relationship, and all this time has gone by, right? It just slips by us, and we go, what happened? So it was about January of 2013, and I was buying a property on Music Row, and that is where I met Robin, who was representing the seller, and of course we found out we were tied together by somebody, and then I met Larry, and we just became fast friends. There was a lot of dinners. There was a lot of red wine. There was a lot of laughter. And you're talking about a guy who, raise your hand if you agree with me. Larry Sheridan could do anything. A gymnast, an athlete, successful in the construction industry, which poor thing, we all just clamored to him saying, how do I fix this piping? Can I do drawings? I got those, I got that. Hey, we need to fix those fleas. We got this, we got that. He's amazing. He's just an amazing human. So it's an honor for me to get to represent and kind of keep this thing rolling along. We have a lot of really special friends, and I can't think of a more special way to start this than the woman who Larry, while we all got together, Rob Crosby brought this up, and it's an important point, and it's a perfect segue to bring her on. Larry loved and still does love Robin. Larry adored her. It's the love story of all time. He lifted her up. He constantly spoke so highly of Robin, and so with that being said, I can't think of a better way to start this. And she's a gutsy girl to be able to come out here. She's written some songs. Songs keep pouring out of her. Would you please make welcome our good friend, Miss Robin Ruddy Sheridan.
Guys, wow. Who gets a standing ovation on the first song? Wow. So I'm actually the warm-up act for tonight. And I figured, with all you guys coming from all over the world, taking your time out of your busy schedules and coming down here at a weird time of day in the middle of a work week. I really appreciate it. And I thought, what a better way to kick off the show than with a love song to Larry. Like a watercolor lily, the canvas tries to hold a rich and earthy block of clay the sculptor longs to mold. Your colors shimmer in the light, your essence brings a blind man's sight. You're the brightest star in the night, perfect work of art. You're a pure abstraction in a modernistic world, brushing strokes of genius like a mother of pearl. Olive eyes so big and round, your breathing makes the sweetest sound. Your shadow dances all around, a perfect work of art. Picasso and Monet couldn't capture who you are. It's like trying to catch a falling star. Your timeless beauty never fades as the years go by, like the illuminated innocence of a curious child. Your racehorse running wild and free, a sunny day, an ocean breeze, everything I'll ever need, a perfect work of art. Thank you, guys. I'm going to get some help from my friends on this next one. Heidi's going to come on up, and Terri and Steve. Come on up here, you guys. Larry was in the hospital for quite a while this spring. And towards the end, it was looking like we were going to get to go home pretty soon. Days before that, we got the nurse to say that to let us go outside. She took us outside. And the sun was shining down. We spent some time just drinking in the sunshine, and it was just a really tender moment, really sweet, and I'll never forget it. That night, I went home and wrote this song. Looking up at the bright blue sky, getting closer as days go by. Wind on my back everywhere I go, taking turns on this winding road. Live long enough and you'll come to know the joy of coming home. Can't get enough of that open air. Feels so good to know you're there. Wind on my back everywhere I go, taking curves along this winding road. Live long enough and you'll come to know the joy of coming home. Heidi Newfield. Shooting star across that summer sky. Throughout the bigger wide. Wind on my back everywhere I go, taking curves along this winding road. Live long enough and you'll come to know the joy of coming home. The joy of
Robin, Ruddy, Sheridan. Give it up. So special. Steve and Terri Williams also helping with some harmonies. God bless. Wow. Just a taste of the special stuff that's coming up here. I think we talked about this. Larry and Robin weren't necessarily well-churched. Should I say that? That's a good way to say it, Rob? Yeah? But I think that it goes without saying that they are believers. And with that, I'd like to introduce one of Larry's best friends, one of his golf buddies. He's from Cincinnati, Ohio. And he's just a pretty fabulous guy. And he's going to come up and say the prayer. Would you please welcome Mr. Brian White?
What an unbelievable turnout. And I know that Larry is looking down today and he's saying, I never knew y'all liked me this much. But I feel honored. Larry has been a dear friend for a lot of years. And back when he was going to have a heart surgery, we were playing golf that day. I'll never forget. And when he started talking about it in the middle of the round, and he said, well, Brian, I know you're a prayer. So would you pray for me sometime this week? And I said, well, you know what? There's no better time than right now. So we prayed right there in the golf course, and from that point on, for some reason, Larry called me his praying guy. So when I went to visit, when he was in his final days here, and we were spending some time together, and I walked in, and he said to me, he goes, they sent the chaplain around, and the chaplain asked me if he'd like me to pray for him. And he goes, I told him, no, my praying guy will be here. So today I feel honored to be Larry's praying guy. And so I want us to do what I think he would want me to do. And that's to pray over this and pray for our friendships and for Robin. So if you just take a moment, bow your heads. And if this makes you uncomfortable, then just keep your mask on. I don't care. No. But let's just pray together. God, you are so good to us. And we come in this moment to celebrate a life well lived. We thank you for our friend Larry Sheridan and for the hours of laughter we've shared together, many of us with stories and friendships, and for a man who was always there for everybody else. And so today, Lord, we show up for him. And God, I thank you that in the middle of hurt and pain, you are the God of all comfort. And so today we pray, especially for our friend Robin, that you would wrap your arms around her, that she would feel the love and support of friends and family, and God, that she would know that there is a Heavenly Father that is looking down today and is saying, well done, my good, faithful servant, Larry, welcome. And so we celebrate that today, and we thank you for the comfort that we have and the knowledge that we have in knowing that you are waiting for us. So today, as we celebrate Larry and our friendships together, we thank you for being a God who cares about every detail of our life. And you care about this moment. So we ask that you would be honored, and Lord, that you would bless everything that's said and done, and that we would all live our lives in a way that reflects the love that you have for us. Let us love one another. We pray these things in your strong and powerful name of Jesus. And everybody in the room said, amen. Thank you. God bless you guys.
Hold. You're right there. All right. Well, we have a combination of, as you can already tell, we have a combination of friends who are, of course, writers, and a lot of them chase the little white ball with Larry, because that was his kind of his go-to. For as long as I'd known him, for sure. But and by the way, Brian White, that was absolutely beautiful. Thank you. There's a gentleman who is going to come up and speak to you now and tell you a little bit about his experience with Larry. He's someone who is a longtime friend. He's a luthier. He is. I'm not going to ruin it for you. He has lots of special memories he's going to bring up to you. Is Jeff in the house? There he is. Mr. Jeff Ponder. He's from Virginia. Jeff Ponder.
Hey, y'all. Hello. I'm Jeff. It says so in the program. I'd like to thank you for all coming out. This is an unbelievable turnout, and I'm sure Larry would have a huge smile on his face seeing all these people assembled in one spot that knew him and loved him. I'd like to thank the New Jersey, New York connection, his family. I'm sure they'll view this at one point. The Northern Virginia connection is where we came down from today. John and Ann Tyler's here, Phil Charwood, my beautiful wife, Laura, Cheryl Goddard, and of course, Northern Virginia connection is also Robin Ruddy, because that's where she met Larry at Old Yeller. She was the bluegrass girl hanging out with the volleyball players, and then made her way down here to Nashville. Of course, the Nashville connection was huge, and this whole place is full of y'all. Robin is here with her sisters in support, but so many golf buddies are here, music buddies are here, business buddies are here, acquaintances are here, and special thanks goes out to his close crew that was around at the very end. I was not here, but they were, and it makes me feel so overjoyed, the fact that he was surrounded with people that loved him at the end, friends and family that were there for him, so he would have a great send-off. And, I read the program, got these world-class musicians and singers, songwriters, stuff, and then they kind of stuck me in the middle. So even in Nashville, that's a tough gig. But I knew I wanted to say something, so usually you have an anecdote or a funny story or something, and I thought back through my relationship with Larry, and I came up with a couple of things that, not stories so much, but images came to mind for me. And the first image is the image of me meeting him for the first time. When I was in high school, halfway through, my family relocated to Long Island from Atlanta, so there's a culture shock there. And new town, first day of school. I attend the school, and I had decided to try out for the prestigious gymnastic team that they had there at the high school, and I had done some gymnastics back in Atlanta. So after the day, I walk into the locker room with my gym bag, and this Scottish Italian dude with a 5 o'clock shadow walks up to me, and he says, "Larry Sheridan, all around." And I don't know how many of you met Larry Sheridan before. Maybe in 40 to 50 years, that's changed. Maybe it's now Larry Sheridan Parlor Productions. But you each remember the time that you met him. And at that time, we developed a relationship based around that sport and realized we have several other things in common. Love of music, love of playing guitar. And I went back to Virginia to go to school, and came back up on college summer break to hang with him at his house back in our hometown. And the images of me standing at the top of a really large stairway, he's at the bottom, and we're both playing guitars and staring at each other, not a word being said, but letting the music speak for itself. And that image came to me. Another image from that town was absolutely hillless, absolutely perfectly flat on Long Island, and we would take evening rides on a 10-speed, just do figure eights and donuts and roll up and down the town, and periodically we would stop for motivation with something that's legal in most of these states now. But invariably would end up at the local ice cream parlor just before closing time with a big wad of sundae or something, and that was really special. But I am honored and humbled to stand up and speak to a friendship that lasted over 55 decades. And thank you. I had the pleasure of knowing Larry a long time, and he also taught a lot of lessons to me, or I learned a lot of lessons from him. One is that if you're frank with people, it's okay if it comes from the heart. Second, no matter how confused and complicated your week is, there's always time for 9 over at McCabe. Okay. Thirdly, that distance doesn't have to diminish affection. And for me, that's special. Also, never, ever, ever jump out of an airplane. Okay, don't ever do that. But the biggest lesson that Larry ever shared with me is how to become a lifelong friend. He taught me that very well. And I have a sign in my living room, picture of a guitar embossed with the words, "When words fail, music speaks." And I think that's appropriate for right now. And they're going to cue up a song here in a minute. I think it's Alice's Restaurant. No, wait, that's wrong. It's an old Scottish traditional song called The Parting Glass. And after they play that, I would invite you all to rise and share a glass in the memory of Larry Sheridan. Thank you.
I spent it in good company, and all the harm that I've done, alas, it was to none but me. And all I've done for want of wit to memory now I can't recall. So fill to me the parting glass. Good night, and joy be with you all. Oh, all the comrades that I've had are sorry for my going away, and all the sweethearts that I've had would wish me one more day to stay. But since it falls unto my lot that I should rise and you should not, I'll gently rise and I'll softly call. Good night, and joy be with you all. Good night, and joy be with you all.
I wasn't planning on that. Raise him up, because that's what Larry would want us to do. Raise him up to Larry Sheridan. Cheers, Larry. I said I wasn't going to cry. All right. This guy to my right, your left, depending. Well, he's just a fabulous human being, a dear friend of Larry's, obviously, golfing partner. You guys go way back. Do you golf?
Not golfing.
You didn't golf.
You don't want to golf with me. Not because I'm good, but you'll never see me
You're
after we
dirty?
hit the first ball.
Oh,
because
okay, yeah, you're chasing the ball. Okay, I always thought that Wil, all this time I've known you, I thought you were part of the golf pack. But all right, I knew that you. I know you come together in song. And speaking of song, he's going to do a song that this one's called Hawaii on Me, and I think you're going to tell something I don't know from our little conversation at rehearsal, but it's something to do with the houseboat.
Well, that's another story. You know, Larry and Robin used to come out on a houseboat with us out on Captain Rod and Mary Alice are here tonight. And it's a fun, we were out on the houseboat one day, and some of you might know me, I try to play the fiddle every now and then, and I was playing the fiddle, and Robin was playing banjo, and Larry was just real honest. He goes, "It's amazing that the smallest instrument is the loudest instrument out here." I go, "What are you trying to say, Larry?" But I love Larry Sheridan, and somebody said this earlier. He was always building other people up, and he loved Robin. And I did a lot of corporate things with Larry and Robin. And if someone forgot to mention what Robin had accomplished playing with Rod Stewart, and Larry was always sure to say, "Hey, let me say something about Robin," every time. And I love that about him. And he wore many hats. Somebody said he's a great builder. He's a carpenter, and he knew chords on the guitar that I've never been able to find on this guitar. He'd pick up the guitar. I think he played jazz guitar or something. He took jazz, and he was an acrobat. He's all kinds of things, and he never talked about it much, but it's kind of. But we'd be doing these corporate things, and Larry'd always say, "Hey, Wil, play that Hawaii song." So here you go, Larry, and. Someday when I die, you're gonna cry. Yeah, hopefully I will be on up in the sky. No, don't spend my money on a box and a hole. That might be my body, but that ain't my soul. Put your feet in the sand, buy you a coat, raise it on up, crack a good joke. 2 toes in the water, ashes to sea. When I die, go to Hawaii on me. Have the time of your life. Go on and blow it on. Yeah, throw a big party in a big penthouse overlooking the bay of Waikiki. Yeah, when I die, go to Hawaii on me. Put your feet in the sand, buy you a Coke, raise it on up, crack a good joke. 2 toes in the water, ashes to sea. When I die, go to Hawaii on me. I've made a good living, I've lived a good life. I've raised some good kids. I've loved a good wife. So get on that plane in a first class seat. Yeah, when I die, go to Hawaii. Put your feet in the sand, buy you a Coke, raise it on up, crack a good joke. 2 toes in the water, ashes to sing. When I die, go to Hawaii on me. When I die, go to Hawaii on me. We love you, Robin. God bless you all.
Mr. Wil Nance right there, hit songwriter. Now you see why. Wow. I've got to refer to something. Just give me. Hold. Okay. Like that. Check that. Like this. All right. This next gentleman that's coming up is a friend, another friend of mine, and a friend of ours, and a dear friend of Robin and Larry's, obviously. He is from Chicago originally. And looks like he's got a little help with Mr. Jimmy Nichols up here. Would you please make welcome? I mean, he's got Maddie and Tay singles. He's got game. Please give it up for Mr. Pete Sallis. And Jimmy Nichols, of course.
And Brian and Karyn
And
White.
Brian and Karyn White are going to come take this over.
You turn this down for you. You know, I don't know what to say other than there's a song out there that kind of reminds me of, because me and Larry and a bunch of our friends, we golfed all the time. You know, get a phone call, let's golf in 30 minutes, I'll meet you there. We already knew where. And I think most people would think we were just golfing, but we really weren't. So I'm gonna do a song that was one of Larry's favorites, and oh, the high road is a road less traveled. It gets wild and hard scrabble. There's hell on your shoes, but the high road will take your breath away when all the miles behind you find you come into view, and you see mountains, all the valleys, all the rivers far down below. Oh, the high road might be lonely, but it's the only way to go. Oh, the high road is a heartbeat. It's a sweet dream, something glory bound.
It's ever winding, but never easy. Oh, but even when I'm lost, that's where I'll be found. On the high road, on the high road. There'll be hunger, doubts and questions. You can't help but feel forsaken when the night turns bitter cold. But in the morning, when the sun shines just right, it'll show that stretch of dirt is really paved with gold. And you'll see mountains, all the valleys, all the rivers far down below. Oh, the high road might get lonely, but it's the only way to go. It's the only way to go. I'll see you on the high road. I'll see you on the high road. Larry Sheridan.
Wow, huh? Pete Sallis, Jimmy Nichols on piano, and Brian and Karyn White up here just wailing. That was, ooh. Ah. Robin, there you are. Robin is accompanied by, I want to make sure I mention this because it's a big deal. You guys don't get to see each other as often, and this is not the reason you want to gather family, but she has both of her sisters here. We have, of course, Jean, and you have Michelle over here. Where's Michelle? There's Michelle. And Victor. Yes, we've got, you're just as important. Yes, absolutely. Victor, my father's name. That's wonderful. Thank you guys for being here and supporting your sister. And I know that's a dumb thing to say, but it matters. It matters. And I know that you all will agree in saying that, you know, Robin hasn't she just been a warrior through all of this? And I know that this is what we do for the people we love, but this woman, come on, give it up for Robin for being one of the strongest women that we know. And she got up here and could sing. I don't know very many people who would have the inner strength to do that, but Robin, Ruddy, you're that's right. Came from Larry. That's right. He always had your back. This next gentleman that's going to come up and speak is a friend in Nashville. So many people know Pat, and He is, I know, tied to. I'd like to let everybody have their own story, and I don't want to tell too much on the top end. So, the next gentleman is a dear friend of Larry and Robin's, largely through the studio world. He runs Ocean Way Studio. You know that little church on the corner. We all love to sing there too, along with at the parlor. And he's going to come up and he also is somebody who I want to make sure I get this right because we all care. I think most of us in this room who live in Nashville, we care and we have cared and we've dug our heels in on Music Row trying to keep the beauty and the historic value of Music Row. Well, Larry was a warrior for that as well. And this next gentleman that's going to come up and speak, pretty much, actually, if I'm not mistaken, Robin, didn't he actually bring Larry involved? We're going to let him tell it. We'll let him tell it. Ladies and gentlemen, please say hello to Mr. Pat McMacin.
Thank you, Heidi. I appreciate it. Good afternoon. Welcome, everybody. So glad to see so many familiar faces, and there's a lot of faces that I don't know in this room. But I'm the guy that still has a job on Music Row. I guess I'm the only one. Yeah, I know. It's a sad joke to make. But it's funny. My name's Pat. She told you I work at Ocean Way. It's funny where you run into guys like Larry in this world, and I'm going off script here. Every encounter I had, well, the first encounter was the Nashville Entertainment Association that goes way back 20-some years. Tina, I think you were part of that, weren't you? Probably some other folks in the room. We were volunteering, just trying to meet people and jump in and network and help make Nashville a better community. And so that's kind of how we first met. And then I was walking my dogs a few years later, and I ran into Larry and Robin walking their dogs and learned that we were neighbors. So we used to see each other walk around the block periodically, and it was a good way to further the acquaintance. But it really got interesting in later years. So being a studio manager, I'm the kind of guy that has to know a little bit about a few things. Larry, as you guys have mentioned and know, he was the kind of guy that knew a lot about a lot of things. Curious, I'd say. Lifelong learner, you betcha. Renaissance man, closest I've ever come. So he was that kind of guy. He was a performing artist early in his life, and that gave him the knowledge and the particular insight to put together environments that were good environments for creative work. And you don't know that if you're not a musician. You don't know what goes in a studio always. He understood the hardest thing about the music business was how to survive in it. It's one thing to build a studio, and I think we've all gotten to that moment. We've looked around and said, well, we built it, and they didn't all come. What do we do? Well, in the Parlor's case, they did come. So that was the good news. But he built that. I think the Parlor was... Well, Robin told me, and this is kind of one of those things that blew my mind, but when we spoke shortly after Larry's passing, she said, I've got to become a studio manager because he built all this for me. And it hit me like a ton of bricks. Who does that, right? So the Parlor, Best Built Songs, he comes along with a publishing company, they understand songwriting, and they build that company, and they learn what that is. They understood that having a creative environment where writers and musicians could gather was going to yield some great music, and they had all the little parts that you need to make that happen. The times that I would go by the Parlor, there'd always be at least a songwriter or two or three hanging out in the lobby getting ready to go do a demo, or maybe just coming downstairs from a writing appointment. It was a beautiful microcosm of what I got to experience in my days at Sony ATV. So here's a giant multinational that didn't have nothing on Best Built Songs. So it's true. So later on, as piracy took a lot of our careers and our income away, anybody in the room relate to that? A few of us, yeah. He and Robin started a real estate company and later an event company, offering experiences for people that want to try to understand what it's like to get to do what most of us get to do on a regular basis. And so I thought that was a real inventive way of just jumping in, and it's that drive that you and Larry had to survive. And that to me is the most admirable thing. When I drive past the sign for the parlor, I see survivors. So not only did he learn all that stuff, but he knew how to build it. He could do the carpentry. He did the acoustics. Did he do the wiring? I was going to ask, did he do the wiring? Of course he did. He did the wiring. He could do all that stuff. He learned how to run a business. He learned to run a music publishing company. Then he learned how to become a community business leader. And it wasn't something that he just sort of fell off the back porch one day and learned. He proactively learned how to engage with his community. And I really admire that. That's a special quality. He participated in education around leadership, networked a lot, listened and learned. I love what Pete said earlier. No, it wasn't Pete. Who was it? Tom, that said Larry Sheridan all around. That would have almost worked for his whole life, but he did always like to give you context. Which I appreciated very much. So again, through his leadership in the business community, we kind of ran into each other on some occasions. He became really involved with us when we started the Music Industry Coalition, which was a little organization founded around the idea that they were going to tear down RCA Studio A. So he jumped in with that. So remember, I mentioned I met him at the Nashville Entertainment NEA, served with him on the NAPERS board, the Nashville Association of Professional Recording Services, which I served with him. I dropped off the board. I came back on the board years later. He had been there the whole time. But I think we helped further its cause, and then I think at the time we helped shutter it when that time came. So it was just amazing to see him jump in. But the most recent one was the Music Row fights. He got involved with the Music Row neighborhood. We met endlessly. We met with Metro Planning for 5 years. We met as an organization at least once a month. And we actually wrote a plan that Metro Nashville has taken as their guidelines for the development of Music Row. Then they ran out of the, thank you. It was one of those accomplishments that nobody knows about, but we're all, the ones of us that were a part of it, were very proud of it. Unfortunately, the city ran out of money and never could turn our plan into a law, into a code. But at least when a developer comes along and they want to do something other than what it's zoned for, that they're referring to the plan that we authored before they allow new construction to go in. So hopefully, I think we all knew when we got involved we were going to be a little bit too late, and sure enough, there's a lot that's gone. But we're proud of the work we did, and Larry was a big part of that. So that was, he served on a steering commission that Metro Planning put together as a part of all this, so he would show up at those meetings. He was tireless in his efforts. So I think of the parlor as being his work of art, to your song. Inspired wholly by his wife. Robin told me not long ago about him building the studio and the publishing company and the real estate company all to support her career. And I'm starting to get the impression that maybe he was a proud guy that had a servant's heart. I mean, who does that? Who devotes themselves that entirely? Larry did. Thanks, Larry.
Larry did. Pat McMacin, thank you. Wow. I'm excited to introduce this next gentleman. He told me, for this very reason, because he told me, don't say much about me, because that's how he is. He's just a cool guy. I'm glad to say that I'm glad to call you friend, and the two gentlemen, legendary gentlemen that are with him as well. These guys are longtime friends. I know you chased the white ball with Larry a lot, and we've written some songs together. And I know you go back at the parlor, and y'all, just a dear, dear friend of Robin and Larry, and a lovely, wonderful human being himself. This is Mr. Rob Crosby with Spady Brannon back here on bass, and Jimmy Nichols over here on keys. Give it up.
I've only had the joy of getting close to Larry and Robin for the last 20 years and playing a lot of golf. Having a lot of good times at the parlor. Jeff, one of Larry's oldest and best friends, earlier on mentioned Larry's characteristic honesty. He also had a very dry sense of humor. And I can remember, I'll be brief, but a couple of years ago on the golf course, I was talking about how I'd been, my love for Greg Allman had been renewed by reading his autobiography. And I said, you know, I'm starting to grow my hair out again and a little beard, you know, and like Greg. And Larry said, looks more like Aqualung to me. You Jethro Tull fans may remember that. I would have chosen a song written by a better songwriter like You've Got a Friend, but Robin requested this song, and I'm honored to try to sing it. Remember this when the four winds blow. You're gonna carry my love wherever you go. Though the years may come between us, you'll never be alone. I'll be the wind on your face, the rain on your skin, the whisper of evening when your day comes to an end. I'll be the song of the past that keeps coming back, soft and clear. I'll be that last ray of light in the darkening sky, the prayer in your heart when you wake in the night. Down every winding road, no matter how far, I'll be near. The sun comes up, the sun goes down. Yeah, the seasons change as the world turns round. Though the years may come between us, our hearts will be forever bound. And I'll be the wind on your face, the rain on your skin, the whisper of evening when your day comes to an end. I'll be the song of the past that keeps coming back, soft and clear. I'll be that last ray of light prayer in your heart when you wake in the night. Down every winding road, no matter how far, I'll be near. I'll be near. Love you, Larry. Love you, Robin.
Hey, I just want to take a moment to, I had a chance to know him well, and just a couple of thoughts I just want to share. I was just kind of off script, but he'd come in the room and he'd own the room the minute he walked in. It's like he'd own the room, and you knew it was him, and he was warm and fuzzy, and he didn't say much, if anything, and but you knew he was there, and I'm gonna miss him. But I don't personally think he's gone. I think he's still here, and I'm referring to Larry's mustache. A little levity.
Larry's mustache. It did have a life of its own, I have to say. It was intense. This is hard to say, but I'm just this group of people, everybody standing back in the hallway, the rehearsals and the visits and the harmony parts, and all of you here. It just I agree with Jimmy Nichols. It just feels like Larry's right here. He's right here. I agree. And Pat, that was amazing. Pat McMacin, thank you, wherever you are, sir. This next gentleman and his absolutely lovely bride is going to come up here. He's a longtime friend of Larry's as well, and Robin's. Robin gave me, I know a lot of the songwriting accomplishments of everybody that's come up here, but rather than make it about that so much, I've just been kind of letting them tell their stories. And this guy, I have to bring it up because we live in a strange world right now, and by God, this guy has the #1 country song on the charts as we speak. Is that right? Mr. Jason Aldean, little tune called Blame It On You. I listened to it again this morning just to make sure that it was great, and it is. His bride here, standing behind me, waiting for this mic and for me to shut up, is Karyn with a Y. Do not mess that up. You guys have known each other from the parlor, producing stuff at the parlor. You go back to corporate events, all kinds of history. Let me leave it up to this guy and this voice right here, this beautiful woman right here. This is Brian White and Karyn White.
Thank you, Heidi. We've had the privilege, Karyn and I, of drinking some good wine with Robin and Larry, and sharing some good laughs.
He always brought
and
the
they
good
always
tequila.
brought the good tequila. And so we are so honored to get a chance to share here today. It was never anything I was afraid to speak out of in front of Larry and everybody else that I golfed with. My faith's very important to me, and I think that's what really kind of tied Larry and I together, was just the fact that we're all on a temporary journey headed to an eternal destination. And where we put our faith kind of determines where that is. And you know, some of us put our faith in our money, our successes, or whatever. But, you know, I've chosen, and my wife and I, to put it in the good Lord Jesus. And there's some people say, well, you know, really? I said, well, let me just say this. I don't believe it's just dust to dust. I think there's something out there, and Larry's just moved on. He's just like, see you later. It's not like goodbye. And I'd have to believe that, because, I mean, who would think that the God of the universe, the God that knows the exact formula for water and slung the Milky Way into space, I mean, surely he's more creative than just to say, well, when it's over, it's over. And so he gives us an eternal hope, and that hope that we have is in him, and those are promises in God's word. And so this song is one that I feel like fits this scene. Well, I never said that I would give you silver or gold, or you wouldn't face the fire or have to shiver in the cold. But I did say you'd never walk through this world alone. And I did say, don't make this world your home.
I never said that fear wouldn't find you in the night, or the loneliness was something that you'd never have to fight. But I did say I'd be right there by your side. Did say I'll always help you fight.
'Cause you know I made a promise that I intend to keep, and my grace will be sufficient in your every time of need, and my love will be the anchor that you can hold on to. This is a promise, this is a promise I've made to you.
I never said that friends would never turn their backs on you, or that the world around you wouldn't see you as a fool. But I did say, like me, you'll surely be despised. And I did say, my ways confound the wise.
And I never said you wouldn't taste the bitter kiss of death, or have to cross through chilly Jordan to enter into rest. But I did say I'd be waiting right on the other side.
Yeah.
And I did say I'll dry every tear you cry. 'Cause you know I made a promise that I'd prepare a place, and someday sooner than you think you'll see me face to face, and you'll sing with the angels and a countless multitude. This is the promise, this is the promise I've made to you. So just keep on walking, don't turn to the left or right. And in the midst of darkness, won't you let this be your light? That hell can't separate us, and you're gonna make it through. This is a promise, this is a promise
I've made you. Oh, this is the promise.
Oh, this is the promise
I've made to you.
God bless y'all. Love you, Larry.
Oh my gosh, that was great. Brian White, Karyn White, give it up for that amazing team. It's no easy feat to get a number one song in the country these days. That might be country. Yep, I said that and Larry would like it, by God. All right. Speaking of songwriters, speaking of well, country, but songwriters in general, we have a video that I'm excited to see. Our buddy is out of town, but he was kind enough to send in a video in honor of Larry and Robin. He is the director of our friends at NSAI, and he's just a special individual himself. So I'm just going to introduce this next video, which is from our buddy Bart Herbison.
I became the director of the Nashville Songwriters Association International, NSAI, in August 1997. And I don't think I'd been in that office 3 days, and this guy appears down there. Hi, I'm Larry Sheridan. And he introduced himself. And until he passed, Larry was indispensable to our organization. He joined our legislative committee, and we did some pretty big things, or at least built up to those in that era. One of the things we worked at very, very hard was securing the capital gains tax treatment for songwriters when they sold a catalog. And I have to say, Larry was diligent. He was at every meeting. He handed out tasks to songwriters. I love all of you, but sometimes they get done, sometimes they don't. Larry never wavered. He got the Parlor Studios, my favorite studio in Nashville personally, and quickly offered to become a sponsor of the NSAI Song Contest, where they did demos. I think we did about a dozen for the 2 big winners and the 10 runners up, and he carried that through for years. And then Larry was somewhat of a consigliere on the Music Row Code that we're still trying to figure out. Took a real leadership role there. But the most important thing I want to say about Larry Sheridan is he was my friend. I trusted him, and he came along and helped me in NSAI when he really didn't have a reason to. Robin, for you, for all of Larry's family and friends, let's remember his legacy, because it is a bright one that will live on as long as we do. Miss you, Larry Sheridan.
I didn't know how long that video was going to go, and I cheated. I was putting some lip gloss on. Okay. Might have had a sip of wine. All right. This next gentleman, wow. I want to know you. And that's the thing about Larry, too. He really was a connector. Don't you agree? I know so many of wonderful friends thanks to Robin and Larry. And he's a connector of people. And this gentleman coming up is, well, he's the professor of songwriting at the Berkley School of Music in Boston. That's a big deal. I'm just saying. We're going to hang, buddy, after this. All right. Years ago, Pat came down for a songwriter work camp. I believe it was once a week every month, if I'm told. Once a week every month. And Larry and became fast friends with Larry and Robin. And Larry in a publishing role, of course, Pat. Pat, why don't you take it from here? Come on up. This is Pat Pattison, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, it's an honor to be here. I don't know where Larry is. Somewhere in the ether. He will certainly live on in our memories. But I do know one thing about Larry. If he were here tonight, he'd be very uncomfortable. Because it was never about him. It was never about him. I came down here. I met him on the golf course. Is that a surprise? The first time I met him was on the golf course. And the last time I saw him was on the golf course. I came down here on a sabbatical in probably early 90s, I think it was. And I had a little place over on Sweetbriar. And I decided that since I was still getting paid from Berkley, being on sabbatical, that I could start giving some seminars. And so I did. I gave weekly seminars and had some really good folks come in. And then there was this guy that I met on the golf course who found out I was doing songwriting seminars and that I had some fairly successful students. And he said, you know, I think Robin and I would really like to come in. And I said, oh, you know, interested in songwriting? He said, well, she is, but I just want to be able to know more about songs so that I can be a better publisher, so that I can help more people. And when he put the parlor together, every year for 34 years, I've been bringing 120 students down to Nashville in March during our spring break. And Larry was always there for it. He was always willing to participate in any way that he could. And whenever my students who would come down, there are probably about 2,000, 2,500 Berkeley students down here, alumni, working. They would come down and I would say, first stop is the parlor. And I can't tell the number of students that were interns for y'all. You were just so helpful. Larry was the kind of guy who always shed light on other people. When we got together first, he said, well, you got to meet some folks. And so every place we went, he'd say, this is Pat Pattison. You got to know this guy. And I benefited from that, but more than that, my students benefited from that. Larry was that kind of guy, the guy who always shone his light someplace else. Wanted the light on you, wanted the light on you. Always shining his lights. And that's why I think he'd be very uncomfortable standing in the light here. We know better. Larry was a light. That's why when he walked into a room, you knew he was there, but not because he was going. It's because he was going like that. So I'm really pleased to see all of us who love him here. And I just want to say to Larry, bon voyage, my friend, on the road that we all will take. Thank you.
Pattison, ladies and gentlemen. Give it up. He just draws you in. Where's Robin? There. Oh, she went over to Michelle. Okay, gotcha. Well, I'm gonna just move over here and invite this next gentleman up, who actually is connected to Robin and Larry in the sense that before I met Robin and Larry first, and later on, a few years later, I met this next gentleman, and he became my Johnny, frankly. And come to find out, he was signed to Atlantic Records back in the late '90s, and Robin was his steel player. That's Nashville. Just love that about it. Sense of community. Give it up for my fiance and my best friend in the world, Mr. Matt King. Kathy, I want to also, would you please also, I know there's a lot of clapping going, but the beautiful lady that's behind the soundboard, she's running lights and sound and helping, she's always amazing. It seems like I should just set up a cot back there because I seem to be here every week. Kathy Mack is back there mixing. Give it up for her, please. So great. Hold on, I'm going to grab a pick. Matt, say something.
Nice to see you guys, and I love the quiet composure of that man. He also was generous in a very quiet way, and when I was putting my first studio together, he quietly helped me. He and Robin both donated when I didn't have anything but one microphone and a preamp, and I think that's the way he lived his life, was by doing quietly and by example, not talking about it. But anyway, I'm honored to be here tonight, Heidi.
Agreed. Robin, I'm going to tell you point blank, I am not going to sing the song that I was going to sing. It felt so personal to you. And she said good. Thank you, because I honestly, and I thought, I'm just going to feel it out. And instead, I'm going to do a song that I wrote with Trent Willman and Chris Stapleton, and I put it on the Barfly Sessions, which Larry and Robin let me come in to the control room at the parlor and play it for my radio guy. First listen all the way through. And I'll forever be grateful for that. And we drank a lot of red wine, too, so there was that, too. But it's probably, I carried around a lot of grief way back when my mother was ill and passing, and I carried that with me. And I didn't even realize that I hadn't properly mourned her. So this song is kind of about the stages, if you will, and it's called When Heaven Falls. It's the burning of an angel damned. It lingers in the souls of man. And you see anger in the alcohol. That's how it is when heaven falls. You see fear upon a dying face, clinging to the hand of fate. It's a back that's up against the wall, and that's how it feels when heaven falls. Hearts don't know when it's over. Love, it don't leave when it's gone. And the wind doesn't end with a farewell kiss. And that's how it is when heaven falls. Well, it's the silence of the barren field. It's a prayer that time will not reveal. And it's the rain that never comes to call. And that's how it looks when heaven falls. Well, hearts don't know when it's over. Love, it don't leave when it's gone. And the wind doesn't end with a farewell kiss. And that's how it is when heaven falls. Well, it's the hollow eyes of a hungry child. It's a cage that holds what once was wild. And it's a fiddle with no strings at all. And that's how it hurts when heaven falls. Hearts don't know when it's over. Love don't leave when it's gone. And the wind doesn't end with a farewell kiss. And that's how it is when heaven falls. Hearts don't know when it's over. And love, it don't leave when it's gone. And the wind doesn't end with a farewell kiss. And that's how it is when heaven falls. That's how it is when heaven falls. That's how it is when heaven falls. Thank you. Matt King. Thank you, love. I'm going to move over here. Thank you, sir. Kiss my face. Sorry. Never pass up a chance at a kiss. I'm so excited about this next grouping of people here because they're just fabulous husbands and wives, and they're extremely talented, and they've got tons of hits between them, and we're all going to get up here and have some fun, I think, on this next thing. Let me introduce to you right now. I was talking to Steve about this a few days ago, and he said, "Do you know how hard it is to name a band?" And I do. Oh boy, do I. So, would you please make welcome dear, dear friends of Larry and Robin. I won't give, they can tell their own stories, and they've been up here a little bit, to Mr. Steve and Mrs. Terri Williams, and of course, Wil and Holly Nance, the Willies.
Hey guys, thanks for coming. We're so glad that you loved Larry as much as we did. And we're going to miss him, but he is with us. Absolutely. So I think we met Robin and Larry maybe 1999. Yeah? Robin came out and saw our group. We were not good. We were just developing, and she said, "I'd like to play steel with you." We went, "Yeah, absolutely." And we've known her and Larry ever since. They're dear,
Did we
dear
ever
friends.
get good?
No, we never did. So Yeah, we play like once a year, so we leave our stuff set up at the club in every year. So we got together last week to rehearse this and try to make some sense out of how we could pull this off. And I asked Rob, and I said, do you think Larry would be excited about us all getting together and making a big fuss over him? And she said, no. She said, no. And I said, so it's for us, really, right? I mean, so this song's for everybody out there. Please help us. It's an old Bob Dylan song. We thought it'd be appropriate for a little gospel kind of tune.
And you know what? So sing along. Let's fill this house with some love for Larry, right? Woo! Put your hands together now. Come on, let's go. Yeah. Come on, let's go. Everybody now. Woo!
They say everything can be replaced, yet every distance is not near. So I remember every face of every man who put me here.
Everybody now.
I see my light come shining from the west down to the east. Any day now, I shall be released. Come on, Holly. That's all right.
Say every man needs protection. They say that every man must fall. So I swear I see my reflection so high above this wall.
I see my light come shining from the west down to the east. Any day now, I shall be released. Come on, Jimmy, take one now.
Yonder stands a man in this lonely crowd, a man who swears he's not to blame. And all day long I hear him crying so loud, crying out that he's not to blame.
I see my light come shining from the west down to the east. Any day now, I shall be released. Can you take one, Heidi? Take it down. Everybody sing it one time for Larry now. I see my light come shining from the west down to the east. Any day now, any day now, I shall be released. Tag it down, tag it. Any day now, any day now, I shall be
The Willies! Love you, Larry.
One more time! Sorry. I was just
So
kidding.
in for that. I was in, weren't y'all? I was in. I was.
God bless us, everyone.
So, we have, wow, that was fantastic. I got the spirit in me. I sang the darkest song I've ever written, and these guys lifted it up. That's fantastic. That's what it's all about. I think we are about to, you might as well not leave, and everybody stay. But let me introduce you to this next gentleman. Have we mentioned, Robin, that we love you? Now, if I may, while he's plugging in here, and I can't wait to introduce this next one because he's a player. But he's just a fantastic human. But right now, I just want to spread the word. I know you all know this, and should go without saying, but it doesn't. That Robin not only needs us now, but she's going to need us even more as time goes by. So show up like you did today. Thank you so much for being here, and show up and give her a call. Check on her. Come have a glass of wine with her. Come play with her. Whatever. Well, let me rephrase that. Come. You know what I meant. You know what I meant. Y'all nasty. All right. This next guy, I tell you what, I'm, again, a connector. Larry connected us together, to Matt and I, to this next gentleman. He is probably one of the funniest people I've been around in a good while. Rob likes to give him a hard time, which makes it even better. I'm not even going to, you know what, you guys go way, way back. I'm going to let you tell it. Ladies and gentlemen, we're all going to sing together with this special individual. This is Mr. Wood Newton.
All right. Woo! Thank y'all.
I mean.
Hey, before we get into the song, I just want to talk about golf a little bit. And because we played probably I don't know how many, 1,000 rounds of golf, I don't know. We played, all of us played about 200. I don't know why they kept calling me. Maybe it was for the humor of it. You know, one thing about Larry is you've noticed in all these pictures, he has that Buddhist smile going on. And that's the way he was on the golf course. And you know, I asked him for a few pointers because I'm really a tennis player, and I thought, hey, golf, you know, the ball's sitting still, how hard is that, you know? And it turns out it's pretty hard. So, but anyway, I really did learn a few things, and he would not volunteer things unless you ask him, you know. But I played the best round I ever played. It was just me and him on the north over at McCabe, and I shot one under par. Yeah. Most of the time, it was pretty pitiful what happened on the golf course, and I'm pretty easygoing guy, but I'm very competitive with myself, and sometimes I would get a little emotional. And one day, I got so emotional that you could hear me two fairways over, and Larry said, "Hey, don't be what about drama queen. All us macho guys, drama queen. I've tried not to be a drama queen. Not that there's anything wrong with being but anyway. We played so much, and here we are up in our years and everything. There's a story about these guys. I loved it. A few years ago, I read about these two guys over at McCabe who had been playing together, and they were in their 90s, and the guy got a hole-in-one. And his second hole-in-one, the same partner, 50 years before. So that's not bad. But anyway, there was this story about these golfers, that two guys like that they knew their time was coming sooner or later, and they said, Bernie said to Sam, "Hey man, have you ever wondered if they have golf in heaven?" And Sam said, "Yeah, well, as a matter of fact, I have, man. Wouldn't that be great?" He said, "Okay, let's make a deal." He said, "If one of us goes before the other one, then you got to come back, try to come back and let us know. Let me know, let the other one know whether it's true or not." And so, sure enough, Sam passed on first, and it was just a few days later, and Bernie gets woken up in the night, and he hears Sam going, "Bernie, Bernie." Bernie said, "Oh my God, is that you, Sam?" "Yeah." "Wow. So what's the story, man? What's the story?" He said, "Well, there's good news and bad news." And Bernie said, "Well, let me hear the good news first." He said, "Well, first of all, these are amazing golf courses. The weather's perfect every day. All the great champions are up here. We see them all the time. Bobby Jones and Sam Snead and Lee Trevino. And man, he's funny, And he said, "Wow, that's great." He said, "We just play all the time." He said, "It's amazing." He said, "Well, what in the heck? What's the bad news?" He said, "Well, this Friday you're in our foursome." Okay, we were all in such contact, man. It was like we just give each other about 30 minutes. Everybody get in the mood to play golf, and we would, text each other and meet up. So when the day before Larry died, Pete and Spady and Rob and I and Robin met up over in his room, and something had told me, something made me think, we ought to sing him a song. And I actually printed out the lyrics to this song we're going to do called Loch Lomond. And he was proud of his Scots ancestry. And it's funny that he had told Robin the day before that he wanted this song done. So I thought that was pretty amazing, So.
Well, the four of us sang it to Larry on Tuesday.
Okay.
And then after we sang it, we found out the day before he had told Robin that he wanted to hear the song. We sang it without even knowing.
Right. A little bit about the song you probably all have heard. You take the high road, and all happy song. But the song, the story behind the song is that when Bonnie Prince Charlie was fighting the British, two of his men got defeated, and two of his men got captured. And they made them draw straws, and the guy that got the short straw was to be hung the next day. And the other guy was supposed to go take the high road and go tell the Klan not to mess with the British anymore. So this song is from that point of view, that guy knowing it was his last time. So
are you going to use your Lucky Charms accent?
What?
That accent, the Lucky Charms one?
I know you're waiting on a song. I know you are. But Wood, if I may, one of the biggest things that's so cool about this song is, if I'm not mistaken, would you tell these folks the story about you playing it a couple of days while Larry was in hospice?
Yeah, well, we did.
And what
That's
he
what
said.
we were just talking about.
Rob, you were there, right?
I think what Wood is forgetting is very... as Wood told that story about the two prisoners, one being hung and one going home, and Wood said in those days, the low road was the spirit world. So the guy that took the low road would get home first. And we heard Larry all of a sudden kind of wake up from his bed, and he said, I will soon be in the spirit world.
Ooh, yeah. Wow. Yeah.
Wow.
Anyway, y'all help us sing along on this one. By yon bonny banks, by yon bonny braes, where the sun shines bright on Loch Lomond, me and my true love spend many happy days on the bonny, bonny banks of Loch Lomond. So you'll take the high road, I'll take the low road. I'll be in Scotland before ye, but me and my true love will never meet again on the bonny, bonny banks of Loch Lomond. It was there that we parted in yon shady glen, on the steep, steep side of Ben Lomond, when in the purple hue the highland hills we viewed, and the moon coming out in the gloaming. So you'll take the high road, I'll take the low road. I'll be in Scotland before ye, but me and my true love will never meet again on the bonny, bonny banks of Loch Lomond. Oh, the wee birdies sing, and the wildflowers spring, and in sunshine the waters are sleeping. But the broken-hearted kin, their second spring again, though the woeful may cease from their grieving. So you'll take the high road, I'll take the low road. I'll be in Scotland before ye, but me and my true love will never meet again on the bonny, bonny banks of Loch Lomond. Love you guys. Love all of y'all.
Mr. Wood Newton. The Willies, Rob Crosby, Pete Sallis, Jimmy Nichols, Karyn and Brian White, Kathy, Robin, gosh, everybody.
Heidi.
I'm Heidi. Love that, man. Ladies and gentlemen, before we finish out with this last video that we'd like to leave you with, I'd like to just thank you all once again, everyone. All of you who came from far away, bless you, thank you, safe travels. All of you who are in town, like someone said, this was kind of an odd time of day. Thank you for just sharing yourself with each for coming, just coming and hugging on each other, and getting the message and spreading the message about what a wonderful and loving, fabulous, amazing guy Larry Sheridan was and always will be. Life well lived, indeed. We have a guest book in the back, and it's super important. I know it may not be a big deal to you guys, but it's really important to Robin that you all sign that guest book. Please do. And check out also, there's a wonderful display of some of Larry's personal items. There's, I know, some of the things that were close to his heart, some golf clubs, gold records, his Grammy certificate, his Martin guitar. There's a Stratocaster back there. Real estate licenses, very important, and other things that were close to Larry's heart. And most of all, I know in this room, I feel it, and I know Robin feels it. This is what Larry definitely, Pat McMacin said it really well when he said that he's someone who continued to learn and continued to grow, and he's a survivor, and I can't tell you how many, like, there was never a day off in Larry's life. He constantly was evolving. He and Robin together, constantly evolving, constantly learning something new. And we're going to miss him. We're really going to miss him. But like everyone has said up here tonight, his spirit is so with us. He's so right here in this room. And it's just bye for now. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here. Thank you for loving on each other. Please be safe. Love on each other in the future. And let's leave you with some love from our friend Larry Sheridan. Thank you.
Watching that sweet butterfly makes me smile, 'cause I know summer breeze or drop of rain, it's all the same, you're finally home. Sun rays reach down from the sky, it makes me smile, 'cause I know swirling sand and ocean tides, arms open wide. You guys, I really, really appreciate that. It warms my heart, and to see all you here, it's just overwhelming in a good way. And I love each and every one of you. And if I haven't gotten a chance to say hi to you, I want to see and say hi to each and every one of you. So I hope I get to do that before the night's over. Thank you so much for being here. It means so much to me. We're going to miss that guy. Man, I miss him every day, and I know you guys too. Love you. Thank you.